Live from WTVO Rockford and your home team. Eyewitness News at 5 starts now.
An Arkansas woman turns herself in to Rockford police. She's accused of shooting a Rockford woman in the chest.
Plus, if you visited downtown Rockford over the weekend, you may have noticed some changes. We'll look at the evolution of the Forest City's heart.
And some good news for drivers traveling after the holidays. Experts say the recent drop in temperatures could save you money at the pump. Good evening, I'm Mimi Murphy.
And I'm Eric Wilson. Before we get to those stories, a Rockford teenager is shot this afternoon.
Here's what we know right now. RPD's X account posted around 4:30 this afternoon that officers were investigating the area of Post Avenue and Sherman Street that's just south of Greenwood Cemetery. Police say a teen boy was shot and has been taken to the hospital for treatment. Rockford police asked drivers to avoid that area for the time being. We do have a crew on the way to the scene and we'll bring you more information when we get it. An Arkansas woman's arrested for a Rockford crime. Police say she shot another woman earlier this month. Yvondia Day turned herself in at the Winnebago County Jail yesterday. Police say November 17th, Day shot another woman on Fairview Avenue. The victim is listed in critical but stable condition. Officers learned that a physical altercation happened between the two. Police say that led to Day shooting the victim. Day is charged with aggravated battery with a firearm. We now know the name of a Rockford man murdered over the weekend. Early Sunday morning, police were called to the area of North Alpine and Morsay Drive for reports of a man lying in the parking lot. Officers didn't find him at the scene, but soon after that, officers learned that Kevin Harris was at a nearby hospital. He had a gunshot wound to his side. He died from his injuries a short time later. If you have any information on this incident, contact Rockford Police.
A bipartisan education watchdog group says while Illinois' teacher shortage shows signs of improvement, the problem's impacting certain students and communities more than others. And according to a Chicago Tribune report, those affected already need extra support. A recent Advance Illinois survey shows special education and bilingual positions have a high need. Rural areas and schools serving Black and Latino students and lower income communities are also seeing more teacher vacancies than their urban, suburban, and middle class counterparts. A vacant lot in Chicago is being prepared to hold a base camp for migrants despite complaints from people who live in that area. The city plans to move ahead with construction on a winterized tent camp at Brighton Park. One alderman says the lot has safety and environmental issues. Tests over the last few years found toxic metals in the soil there. A railroad company used to own the land. Chicago City Hall says the property is safe for the camp, and the Johnson administration will provide more details this week.
If you were in downtown Rockford this weekend for Stroll on State, you may have noticed some changes.
Drea Baroni joins us with a look at how the landscape has evolved over the past year or so. Drea.
Yeah, the downtown area has certainly seen some recent changes. You can see on your screen just a few of the new storefronts joining the River District and some that have left the downtown area or changed their locations. There's a wide variety of retail options from hair salons to new places to grab something to eat. I talked with Jared Hennis, the owner of the Rockford Art Deli and the secretary of the Rockford River District Association. He gave me some insight on what the organization is doing to help those businesses thrive.
That's kind of what the River District's taking over, is trying to be that conduit to help small businesses and give them what they need and connect them to, people they need to talk to help make things more efficient or more successful. And I think the next big thing is trying to get a lot of the developers and landlords on board to help make their tenants be more successful.
Hennis says they're also hosting monthly meetings with all the small businesses in the area to create a better sense of community. Later at 6, I talked to one of those involved in opening a storefront about what it means to be part of the new scene in downtown Rockford. Eric?
Thanks, Drea. We'll see you then. A popular Stateline summer hangout spot is going away. Demolition started on the William Grady Pool. Back in August, Belvedere Park District board members approved the project. They made the decision based on how old the pool is and extreme mechanical issues. The demolition will cost more than $340,000.
The U.S. Postal Service says its rates are going up. The prices for Ground Advantage, Priority Mail, and Priority Mail Express will go up by nearly 6%. The change was approved last week. The post office is also looking at raising the prices for box rentals and international mail services. The price changes will go into effect at the end of January. Black Friday bargain hunters shattered online shopping records. Data by Adobe Analytics shows buyers spent a record $9.8 billion online Friday, which is up by roughly 8% from the same day last year. Smartwatches, televisions, and Bluetooth headphones were hot ticket items. Other favorites were Barbie fashionista dolls, mini brands toys, cordless and robot vacuums, cookware, skincare, and coffee makers.
A new bacterial infection could be responsible for making your dog sick. Animal health experts say the illness is similar to kennel cough. Several research teams believe the mystery respiratory illness has a different cause. Scientists at the University of Illinois College of Veterinary Medicine say symptoms you should watch for include coughing, sneezing, discharge from the eyes or nose, and signs your pet's just not feeling well.
Is going to be your biggest asset. So call your vet, ask questions. There's never any harm in calling and getting information. And if you're worried, call your vet. Get information. Don't go on the internet and ask your Facebook friends. Call your veterinarian.
Researchers recommend making sure your dog's up to date on vaccinations. You can also keep your pet safe by avoiding other dogs.
Millions of Americans are still heading back home from their Thanksgiving celebrations. The Transportation Security Administration says it expects the Thanksgiving travel season to end tomorrow. The agency predicted Sunday's traffic would likely be the busiest travel day, with an expected nearly 3 million people on the move. The TSA adds it's already experienced 7 of the top 10 busiest travel days in its history just in this year. Gas prices begin to fall as cold weather moves into the state line. Over the last week, prices have fallen more than 9 cents. The average price of gas in Rockford is around $3.29. That's more than 23 cents lower than a month ago and nearly 47 cents lower than a year ago. Experts at Gas Buddy say as more Americans begin to stay inside for the season, prices should continue to drop. Memorial services begin for former First Lady Rosalynn Carter.
Up next, family members say they are touched by the tributes in honor of her memory.
And coming up at 6, Freeport police investigate a murder over the weekend. Now officers are asking for help in finding a person of interest.
Our temperatures this afternoon struggled to make it much above the mid-20s, nearly 20 degrees below where we should be for this time of year. We'll talk a little bit of a warming trend by the end of the week, and when we see those numbers climb back up near 40, that is coming up in your most trusted forecast a little later.
You're watching Eyewitness News, your home team with Eric Wilson, Mimi Murphy, Scott Leber, and Chief Meteorologist Candace King.
Memorials begin for former First Lady Rosalynn Carter in Georgia. President Biden and the First Lady are expected to attend a service in Atlanta tomorrow.
It's not clear if former President Jimmy Carter, who's in his 10th month of hospice care, will participate in the event. Washington correspondent Jesse Tenor reports on the tributes to the former First Lady.
The family of Rosalynn Carter began the final farewells Monday to the former First Lady and global humanitarian, starting in her hometown of Sumter County, Georgia, with an escort from past and present members of her Secret Service detail.
It hurts our hearts.
Carter died November 19th at the age of 96. Her niece, Kim Fuller, remembered her life and legacy during a church service Sunday.
I just thank you especially for the life of Rosalynn Carter and what she means to each and every single one of us.
A wreath-laying ceremony at Carter's alma mater, Georgia Southwestern State University, honored one of her many contributions, advocating for the millions of unpaid caregivers in U.S. households.
For 40 years, she did that work. Her top priority was mental health.
The family's motorcade then traveled to Atlanta, where Carter will lie in repose at the Jimmy Carter Presidential Center Monday night.
We'll miss her terribly.
Carter will leave the center for the final time Tuesday morning for a funeral service attended by former and current residents of the White House.
The President and the First Lady certainly look forward to being there and to offering their condolences.
The White House is honoring the former First Lady with flags flying at half staff and a mourning drape hanging over her portrait. In Washington, I'm Jesse Tenor.
Here at Eyewitness News, we want to recognize remarkable women in our community. You can nominate someone who's made a difference in self-achievement, community contribution, or family impact. Just scan the flow code on your screen or click on the Community tab on our website to submit their story. Temperatures for today and tomorrow won't break out of the 20s.
After the break, Candace tells us when the state line will warm up. In the meantime, bundle up for lows close to the single digits.
Now, your first warned weather forecast from Chief Meteorologist Candace King.
Well, it has been a cold Monday afternoon as temperatures today stayed in the low to mid-20s. Our wind chill factors in the single digits and low teens for much of this afternoon. We've got one more day of cold before we start to see our numbers gradually moderate back to where they should be, which is the low 40s for this time of year. But this air mass coming in straight down from the Arctic following a series of cold fronts that passed through over the last several days. So this air mass coming straight down from the north, which is why we've had such bitterly cold temperatures here for the end of November. Now things are fairly quiet, but we still do maintain that breeze, and we've got some cloud cover gradually beginning to work back in. We take a live look with our SkyTrack camera now this evening back out in Rochelle looking off to the northwest. As I mentioned, we've got some clouds starting to work in. Temperature wise, our numbers dropping back through the teens, single digit wind chills for us here as we go throughout this evening. Those wind chill numbers will drop down below zero in some spots. 17 is the temperature in Rochelle, 19 here in Rockford, feels like 4, 19 in Belvedere, Janesville, 17 in Monroe, but you've got a wind chill factor right now of 2 and 5 above is what it feels like currently out in Freeport. Our weather watcher Mike just north of Forston, 20 degrees underneath a partly cloudy sky. No snow today and not expecting really any snowfall here as we go through the night. However, can't completely rule out a flurry or two just as we bring in some of that cloud cover, and we still do have that colder air in place. Winds, they've been pretty stiff from the west and northwest, now sustained 10 to 20 miles per hour. We've had some gusts today close to 25. We'll see the wind ease up just a bit, but it still does stay with us. So that'll help bring our temperatures back down into the low teens, upper single digits for overnight lows, but wind chills tomorrow morning in some spots will likely fall as low as 5, even 6 degrees below zero. So let's look at some of the numbers here as we go throughout the night tonight and then into the start of tomorrow, because tomorrow morning, while we might not have as strong of wind, it is going to feel a lot colder than what it did here this morning, as I think a lot of us will drop down close to zero, if not below zero, for a few hours just before sunrise. As the wind kind of shifts around to the southwest tomorrow, it doesn't do much to warm our temperatures. In fact, wind chills tomorrow morning are going to stay in the teens for much of the afternoon. Cloud cover comes back in, and that'll kind of be the beginning of a warming trend going into Wednesday, where we'll see our temperatures gradually begin to climb back out of the 20s, and those overnight lows will be warming as well. We had some sunshine earlier today, but cloud cover rolling back in, and again, a couple of flurries crossing over the Mississippi River, so we may see a few of those west and southwest of us. We've got an area of low pressure off to the northeast, moving across eastern Canada, which is pulling down that cold. Our next system working in from the northwest, that low will stay to our north in Canada, but it does pull a warm front through during the day tomorrow, so that's where we see a return of some cloud cover into the afternoon. So let's plan that out here on Futurecast. It'll be a cold one tonight. Temperatures again down around 10, wind chills anywhere from 5 below to 5 above. We'll see a little sunshine tomorrow, but clouds will be quick to increase. May see a flurry or two late tomorrow night going into early Wednesday. Wednesday starts off with cloud cover, but we should see a return of sunshine as the wind comes back in from the west. Wednesday afternoon, temperatures back up into the upper 30s, right around 40 degrees, and then we'll see those numbers remain in the low 40s here through the end of the week. So a cold 10 tonight as we hold on to a west wind gusting at around 15 miles per hour. 26, that's all we muster for tomorrow afternoon. A very cold morning, and then clouds are on the increase. Again, our winds will be gusting close to 15 miles per hour. As we go throughout the next several days, we're up close to 40 on Wednesday. Thursday, we see a little more cloud cover, 42. Another system kind of works into the south of us. This could bring us a couple of light rain showers, maybe late in the day on Thursday, then again on Friday, but it looks like the bulk of this system will actually pass to the south of us. So we may actually see those precipitation chances trend downward by the end of the week. I think a better chance for maybe some rain, maybe mixing in with a couple of snow showers, could come in by Sunday, as those temperatures will stay in the low 40s.
Those 40s are going to feel like a heat wave.
I know it.
Thanks, Candace.
Wisconsin next with sports.
Justin Fields and the Bears are ready to take another crack at the Minnesota Vikings tonight. We'll get some thoughts from Fields on the matchup.
Now sports with sports director Scott Leber.
The Bears will try again tonight to end their streak of futility against division rivals. They'll take on the Vikings in Minnesota. The Bears have lost 12 straight games against division opponents. One of those losses was to the Vikings back in mid-October, 19-13. In that game, the Bears turned the ball over 3 times and allowed 5 sacks. That was also the game in which Justin Fields suffered a hand injury that forced him to miss 5 games. Fields says the Bears have to play a much cleaner game tonight than they did in that first game.
I felt like we made too many mental mistakes last time we played them, and we're better than that. We're better than what we put on tape that game. So putting our best foot forward, making sure we're on our P's and Q's each and every play, locked in, and getting the ball out fast when we need to when they do bring that pressure.
I think this game's going to look a lot like the Bears' last game against Detroit did. The Bears will play well enough to win, but in the end, they'll find another way to lose. I'll take the Vikings in their home stadium 24-20, even without Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson. You can see that game here on WTVO starting at 7 o'clock. James Robinson's latest stint as a Green Bay Packer is over again. He was released by the Pack today. He was active for their Thanksgiving Day game, but did not play. Carolina Panthers aren't waiting until the end of the season to can their head coach. Frank Reich was fired today. The Panthers are 1-10. Reich was fired by the Colts last year, so he's the first coach in the NFL to get fired in back-to-back seasons since the 1970 merger between the NFL and the AFL. Little baseball news for you. The Cardinals have signed free agent starting pitcher Sonny Gray. He was the runner-up for the American League Cy Young Award this past season with the Twins. His record was only 8-8, but his ERA was 2.79. A trade could be brewing between the White Sox and the Braves. The Braves would like to add Dylan Cease to their pitching rotation. The White Sox might be ready to move on from him after he had a disappointing season. Going to see a lot of player movement in baseball over these next 3 weeks. At Sports, we'll be right back.
Our first warning interactive radar brought to us by Rockford Auto Glass and More. We may see a couple of flurries here these next couple of hours. Otherwise, it's just the cold that continues to settle in. Temperatures tonight down around 10, but wind chills tomorrow morning for some will fall back below 0. So bundle up because it'll be another cold day. Highs only at around 26. We'll see an increase in cloud cover. Passing flurry or 2 can't be ruled out Tuesday night. Temperatures, though, back near 40 by the end of the week.
All right, thanks, Candace.
And thank you for spending some time with us. Stay safe.